welcome to DFH Locker Room.
Number
9.
Nice, he got it. We actually had a good intro. And now we're gonna ruin it by introducing NZXT Mason. What's going on, Mason?
Savage, bro. Savage.
What's going on, man?
Not much, guys. Thanks for having me on. So good. Pleasure to be here. Appreciate the invite. So super hyped. Dude. How's chat doing? Hope you guys are fine.
Awesome. I like how you introduced him as NZXT Mason. I'm just going to start calling you Gibbs 000, and I hope you call me Go.
That's true. Like, I don't call you Go. Hey, man. I'm trying to get his sponsor plugs, or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, even though we're not sponsored by them, but
you're
whatever,
making me sick.
I'm just trying to help Mason's job.
We're not sponsored. End the call.
I know. Exactly. This is why we had him on the show to talk about it live on air.
We demand fat stacks of cash and beef jerky.
Beef jerky would be. I would accept that as payment.
And some Fruity Pebbles would help too.
Or Trident layers. I don't know.
Yeah, all those are good options. Like, we don't need money. We just need food of some type. Weird food, and we'll be
pizza.
Fine.
Onion rings, those are my.
Oh Jesus, onion rings! Goddamn! Like, if I hear you say onion rings, I hear you say onion rings every goddamn day.
Dude,
you just DM me and type onion rings every day.
Rings. I really am looking forward to going back to Burbank because we're gonna get onion rings from the Daily Grill. Like, so really honestly.
I still haven't tried any of them yet.
Oh my god, they're like so thick and crispy, and they
onion
don't.
Rings.
They're just so good. It's the onion ring, like the kind of onion rings that where you bite into it and the onion like slides out. It doesn't happen at the Daily Grill. They're just amazing. But like, we're getting off on a tangent.
It's like, how can you?
Dude, what do you mean it's onion rings? Like, dude, it's so like there are bad onion rings.
Like, I don't see like amazing onion rings. Like, I can see, these are actually cooked well.
Try them, man.
Maybe I have to try them. Maybe next week
you'll love them.
I will be like, wow, my life has changed.
In 2 days, your life will change.
Anyway, Mason, so this is what we talk about on the show. We just talk about food and onion rings and Trident layers. Sometimes we talk about Rocket League, so...
I'm okay with all of these things. So.
All right, sounds good. Let's get into, like, the dumb shit first, and let's just get it over with.
All right.
So we'll start with the Smurfing boost and talk. Me and James talked about it some last week, and it got brought up again this week. First off, before we even get into either situation, let's just... Mason, like, what are your thoughts in general on Smurfing boost? And, like, if you want to keep it short, because we'll talk about it more as we go through the situations.
Yeah, so I had tweeted about this a few days ago before the whole present situation even arose, and I was honestly just kind of ranting about it a little bit, not so much boosting as smurfing. So as far as Smurfs go, I think it's really annoying, and I don't think it's a good thing necessarily, but my concern largely surrounding like Smurfs is more that it becomes kind of an excuse that people use for not playing well. And that's what I saw in regards to Smurfing that was really kind of irking me a little bit, is people would, if they got beaten by someone, instead of like evaluating their own mistakes and their own play, they would automatically say, that person was better for me. I know that there's this term called Smurf that exists, and then they're just going to label that player as Smurf, and then like leave it at that. And that's not what I want to see, like, the community slip into a habit of.
Like Smurf witch hunting.
Right, exactly. Like, I don't want to see the community slip into that. So I really want to, my concern is like that people are defining Smurf the way that it quote unquote should be defined and using it in that context only. People and not using it.
Always screw up the definitions. And I'm like, so that's why I tried to make a video, but obviously not everyone's going to watch it. And it's like, it's just, like, I understand that. Like, I bet a lot of challenger, like, elite players, like, if they have a good game, they probably hear, oh, you're a Smurf. It's like, no, he just had a fucking good game. Like, calm yourself.
I get called a Smurf all the time because my account is ranked really low in ranked, like, because I just didn't play ranked very much at all. Yeah. And then the Season 2 announcement got made, and I was like, oh, I actually want to try and get these. So then I was playing ranked. Yeah. But, so, like, I'm like, I just got out of Challenger Elite yesterday in ranked 2s.
But the difference is like, that is your only account. You did not make another account that for the purpose of playing in a lower rank. And like Carpet is the same way, right? Carpet is like a freaking gold. Yeah, it's like
yeah. So it's one of those. That was my concern surrounding the issue. Now boosting for me is a lot more clear cut. Like, I just think it's straight dirty, man. Like, don't do it. It's such a hot button topic in our community, and for very good reason, because it's everything that people are saying on the like the reasons why people are pointing out that it's bad are valid, right?
Well, valid, like yeah. And I read your comment on Reddit too, like where you were talking about it. It's like, you cannot belittle the importance of one game. Like, you do not know what that one game is to somebody. Like, just yesterday, I was playing Counter-Strike. And like I used to play a lot of Counter-Strike, and I was honestly not that great. Like I started out in the Gold Novas and worked my way up to LEM eventually, which was pretty good for me. But there would always be those games where I'm like won 6 in a row and I feel like I am on the brink of ranking up. And I run into a guy who has on his profile 180 hours in Counter-Strike, which is like nothing. And the guy drops a 40 bomb. And like it makes me so salty, like so friggin' salty. And like I experienced it yesterday. Another guy had like 300 hours and was pooping on everybody. And like his whole wall was just filled with hatred on his Steam profile. But just experiencing that yesterday in Counter-Strike, it really does let you get a sense of like you can't ever just brush it off as it's just a game or, it's just that one thing. Because it really is super infuriating when you know that somebody is smurfing. Now, but I completely agree with you, Mason. You can't just paint with a broad brush, and just try to write off every time somebody's smurfing. But just to bring back I liked your part of the argument that was like, do not belittle the importance of one game. Because that one game might be a huge deal to somebody. So it feels bad, man.
Yeah,
and then
that was...
go ahead. No, go ahead.
Okay, sure. Like that was my comment. Yeah, my comment on that subreddit thread was precisely that. Like, I was seeing a bunch of just comments in general around like Twitter and around Reddit that were concerning to me and that actually like made me upset. Like I'm a pretty low key dude. Like stuff doesn't really rattle me too much, but this is something where I actually adamantly felt like I wanted to speak up about it and go out of my way to like write that somewhat lengthy post response to it because I wouldn't want the community, especially as the community is continuing to grow with newer people coming in. Like we had the RLCS broadcast bringing in new people and all this other stuff. The collector's edition is dropping soon with all those really awesome goodies in it.
Yeah.
And so like we're going to continue having new players come in, and I don't want players to come in and be exposed to this attitude of like it's just a one game. It doesn't affect me. So why do I care about so and so whoever that affected? And it's like, especially within the context of season 2 ending so soon. Like you said, James, like
trying to grind.
A lot of people are trying to grind, and you cannot. Everyone's putting in really earnest, hard work, and so for you to say, "Well, it doesn't affect me. I don't care about Joe Schmo over there, so I'm going to try and get this reward that I really want through unfair means." So what? I took a game off of him. What does it really matter to him?
Yeah.
You don't know. You're not that guy, and so I just worry. I don't want to see that become.
People need to have empathy, right? Like we are human beings. The Rocket League community is generally known for being a pretty nice community. So it is good that we are setting the tone that this really isn't okay because really smurfing, it does suck. Like it is a challenge. Obviously there's different opinions. Like people like smurfing has been around since the beginning of ranked gameplay. Right?
Yeah.
Like it has always been there. So people have different opinions coming from different communities. So there is like some people disagree, but as a whole, it seems like we've come out of this discussion as the community has sided on this really isn't cool. So
we'll go into my situation then first before Low Five, since we're talking more about Smurfing than boosting, I feel like, right now. And then so people are like, oh, well, so like we're all talking about how Smurfing is bad. There is some benefits to it, and that's the only reason why that I do my videos for Spud to Stud or Playing with Potatoes. And like it's because like that's the only place where you can see challenger problems or prospect problems and like explain why that doesn't work or how you should counter it to improve players' game. That's the only reason why I do those videos. Plus, I never do those videos off like stream or recording because I don't want to dilute or make more people face a Smurf than they have to. So I generally do like it's basically one game on average a day for the 5 months because I do it every 2 days, 2 games or whatever. So I try and dilute it as much as possible and have barely any say in it. But I understand. Like,
it is still. I would argue that it is still crappy. Like it is still, and it's okay. Like I think it's okay to have an opinion on this. Like people are gonna agree and people are gonna disagree, and really, it's like that's laws in society, or is what the majority agrees is the right thing, right? Obviously, your situation. I think it's because it's such a hot button issue. It's very, very important how you approach it and how you present it and how you just go about it.
Yeah.
Really. So because you are taking an educational approach to it and you are not trying to do it for any kind of monetary gain, or you're not just being really blunt about it, the perception will not be as harsh. But given that, I still think there will be people who don't like it.
Oh yeah,
like
for
honestly,
sure.
the one guy who runs
acceptable.
into it, and so I think one of the problems that particularly Low Five had was that he was so blunt about it, and people were just taken aback by it. So it was a presentation issue. Now, that being said, a lot of people, I would think the majority, are going to not appreciate the multiple time boosting of somebody who's like, it's perceived that they're buying rank, right?
Yeah.
Like, especially because I've gone against those kids in Counter-Strike. I say kids because I'm salty. They could be older than
Everyone's
me.
kids.
Where,
yeah. We get it. We get it.
But again, this is we are people. Everybody has different opinions on what is right and wrong, and there will be varying degrees of grayness. But so me, I think I'm confused by this whole situation. I'm saddened by it. It hurts me to see so much angst in the community. But as a whole, I think the big picture thing is like, one, Psyonix is listening to us and trying to take steps to minimize it. And two, that people are, for the most part, being civil about it, and I think we'll get through this without creating a bunch of, anger towards one another. And that, I think, will be important moving forward. This is a really, really, really super sensitive issue to a lot of people. People feel really strongly about it. So as long as we can remain civil, though, I think overall,
yeah, for sure,
it'll be a good thing for us as a community.
And the one thing I think of between like boosting and smurfing, it's kind of like, so this is like an exaggeration, but like boosting is like murder, while smurfing is like taking money from a bank almost. It's like, or like maybe not holding them from gunpoint. It's maybe going into a store and taking free candy bars or something a little bit more expensive. I feel like boosting, no matter how you throw it, look, it's definitely wrong. Like I feel like there's no real good way to boost. You're just giving someone an unfair advantage the entire time. Now, someone made like an argument for when I smurf, I'm randomly boosting one player at a time, and that's true.
Yeah,
but it's also like a random dart in like the sea of everything.
It's not really, to me, boosting is like I am purposely getting one person boosted up. Like smurfing is when you're going in randomly.
Yeah.
Boosting is when you're doing it for one particular person or a continued subset of people. Like if you have it, like in Counter-Strike, you got 2 pros boosting up 3 of their friends.
Yeah. And then like another thing, like someone said, well, maybe you shouldn't smurf in ranked games. Instead, try and get with viewers of those ranks and do your videos that way. And it's like, that's actually not a bad idea. The problem is trying to schedule out times for that is hard, and I didn't have time before. I'll have more time now. So it's definitely something I could look into for the next season of playing with potatoes or spud to stud. Like, I'm definitely don't want to rustle too many feathers. Like, I understand for the most part, I'm helping more than I'm hurting, but now with this whole issue, a lot more people are coming out. I was like, oh, actually, this is kind of bad, which is kind of weird because I also got the channel a month and my YouTube exploded because of my smurfing. So, like it's kind of one of those mentalities.
It's one of those, it's how you're presenting it.
Yeah,
it's how you're presenting it, what your end goal is, what your motivation is. All that plays a big role in it. So people's initial perception will affect their initial response to it.
For sure.
So it's one of those things where, again, though, it's just open to interpretation. People will have different feelings. People will disagree, but the important thing is to remain civil.
And to explain the Low Five situation more, because we didn't actually go into like what he was doing yesterday, and I think he might be doing it today. It's hard to tell. He might be joking. I'm not positive. He's taking superstars that have subbed before, and I assume new subs. I'm not positive of this. I haven't been watching. And boosting them from superstar to champion. So it's 1 rank, 5 divisions to champion. And his arguments are, I'm just trying to give back to my fans. I understand that, but it's like, to me, it's unfair to like try and give someone a spot that they don't deserve. His other argument is that, well, they're so close to it anyway, they basically deserve it. But my argument to this is like, well, a superstar is also right next to all-star. So like, are you saying an all-star is the same as champion? Then you can go down the line the whole way. So I don't really buy those arguments. And then, so on top of that, like I wouldn't mind if he used his normal account. Like if he used his normal account, that's playing by Psyonix's laws, and you're just trying to win games, and then it's like, all right, guys, let's try and win this, while he's trying to say that, like, it's a foregone conclusion that I will get you to champion because I'm using a smurf because it's easier to do there. And he said it because it's easier. It's like, yeah, it's easier because you're smurfing and you're boosting. So that's the way I take it. But at the same time, it's like Lo-Fi's an entertainer. This is his full-time job. He's trying to find content for people to watch or to give back, like he said. And I just think he chose poorly on this one issue, basically.
But again, though, it's like some of the things like people should not be like, if you disagree with it, like let people know in a way that is not attacking them, right? Like don't tweet attacks at people and things like that.
On Reddit, they've done a pretty good job like this time around. Most people are pretty civilized. There's some that are thrown out there, but there's a lot of like in-depth conversation going on Reddit, which I think is really good for the community as a whole. And someone else, like I can't remember who brought it up, but he's like, I just like that a lot of people are talking about it, which means fans are engaged and they care about the game, and that's also really good to see. So I think we'll get through it, obviously.
And it was CJ Link that said it.
That's
he was saying like you can kind of tell like big hot button issues how much attention it attracts and responses it attracts on Reddit is a good indication of how like lively the community is. So when we saw this huge response, even though a lot of people are like irritated by it and like it's been very emotional, it's actually a really good sign for the community that people care and people are involved, and like a lot of people too. So that's a good thing.
Yeah. It's a really interesting situation and topic that got brought up, because I think it's complex, right? Like at its core, it's actually really, in my opinion, cut and dry. Boosting is wrong. Like there's no real, if any, way to justify boosting. Like I think most people are probably in agreement that it's pretty dirty and it's cheating the system and therefore it's wrong. But then you add all these other layers of complexity on top of it that makes it, us able to have this really kind of like full length discussion. I think I agree. It's really healthy for the community. Like I think we have to have this kind of discussion as the community continues to grow. But, it's the fact that Lo-Fi is a prominent community figure doing this, and therefore, for a lot of people, their perception is that he's, in a sense, justifying it or attempting to justify it to people, which I don't think is what the community needs, right? I think we can all agree that we don't want people looking at this as an example and saying, well, this person does it. We already know that tons of random people out there do it. But now that it's a community figure, a prominent community figure wrapped up in it, that kind of, to me, sends a signal to all of his fans and all of his followers and anyone who stumbles across like the VODs and whatever, as saying this is okay. And then in his response to it, again, like James was saying, is a presentation issue. Like the response to it, I think could have been handled a lot better, because the response then goes on to continue trying to justify it and saying, at the same time acknowledging that it's wrong, which is it's just weird to me. Like he obviously made a very educated and informed decision to do it. Also, prior to that, saying that it's bad, but then there's this mixed messaging of like, well, it's okay if I do it, and this is the reasons why I feel like it's okay. And so that's why we're having this huge discussion.
Yeah. And then Science Corey brings up a good point. He's like, so if you think smurfing or boosting is wrong, what's the appropriate punishment? Like, I think right now there can't be one.
Yeah,
because Psyonix hasn't said it's wrong.
You like people like, you will never get rid of this issue. It is impossible to design a system to prevent this from happening. Like there is no way someone's going to know. Like imagine the situation. You have a little brother who plays on your computer. You have a Rocket League account and he has a Rocket League account. You're really good. He's really crappy. All right. How would a system be able to tell the difference between me actually having a little brother or me having a second account and smurfing?
Yeah.
Right? There's no way that you can get that out. Now, what you could do is if somebody's streaming it, then, punch them in the face, right? Like, because they're broadcasting that they're doing it.
Yeah, and of course, but Psyonix has to come out and say, like, hey, we would not want you smurfing. Like, if they just privately talk to me and were like, hey, like, I understand what you're doing with your videos, but we don't really like it, then I'm like, all right, fine, then I won't do it anymore.
And I think, and it really is, it's like what you, like being responsive to people's emotions, empathizing with people. If people come out and tell you, Gibbs, what you're doing is wrong, it has affected me, I don't want you to do this, you maybe would have made you reconsider.
Which I'm reconsidering like right now, because like a lot of more people are coming out like, oh, now I think it's wrong. It's hard because it's hard to weigh the positive and the negative, because like it's probably like 10% negative, 90% positive, so it's hard to weigh it out.
Yeah.
So it's tough. Like it's a spot for me personally, because I was like one of my staple shows that I do, so I might Like, I do have a lot in the backlog right now of my show because I wanted to get it done before the end of the season.
Maybe we could take a democratic approach. Maybe you just put a poll out there and say, should I continue this? Here's what I do. Should I continue
But then
this?
it's like, where do you put it? Like, to catch the most people? And then, like, you're going to just catch my fans?
Well, I mean,
so
you're going
to
I would just say do due diligence, right?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. That's
So
yeah.
I mean, and really, it is a lot of this is opinion. You're dealing with people. There is going to be gray lines. As long as you are respectful and tasteful, you know, you will be able to come to a good conclusion.
And then there's the other situation of like, what could Psyonix do in season 3 to make this not happen? Now they have taken some steps.
Yeah, they've taken phenomenal steps. I mean, I feel like a lot of people, a lot of people have those family sharing accounts. I have a family sharing account that I played in the preseason, and it's my I call it my alt, but I guess it could be considered a Smurf because it's super champion instead of grand champion in threes. But I was playing it because I am super conscientious of my rank. And in the preseason, I was trying to leapfrog my ranks where I would get up on the top 100 and then I'd get on my other account and try to leapfrog it and then just keep going.
But then by that is like when you first started that account, you had to get all the way up there, so you had to take people down like as you went.
Yeah,
so,
and it's the same thing. It's like 2 accounts.
Like it's weird. Like that's why Smurfing's always like a gray area because like a lot of people want multiple accounts for different reasons, and then it's just like, what do you do with it? Like it's so hard to do. Like that's why like I feel like boosting that's like always wrong, and then Smurfing there's always these gray areas, and it's never 100% right. It never is. It's just like, can you try and like reconcile it with other reasons? And it's tough, but you know. That's how
the safest thing to do is just play on one account, right?
Yeah, like, exactly. But then, like, if you have it on different consoles, it's like.
And that's actually another point that I do want to talk about is people say if you go from PlayStation or like for my situation, I went from PC over to Xbox because I've got friends on Xbox to play with.
Exactly.
Is that Smurfing?
Yeah, exactly. So I wouldn't consider it because it's like
I would
that's
say
your
no
main
because
account.
I have no option.
Exactly.
I
There's nothing else
literally
you
have
do.
no choice.
But that brings me into Psyonix's ranking system in general. They say they have placement games. Come on, they're not actually placement games. Like compared to like League of Legends, where it's like if you want a 3-game winning streak, you start facing like high gold players, and then if you lose, then they try and downscale you back. Like that's not how it works at all in Psyonix's system. It's just like here's 10 games, we won't show you your rank until you finish them, and then we never. What they need to do is like if you're on a win streak, like start giving you really hard opponents, and if you start beating them more, then you just jump up really quickly in rank. So after like 30-game winning streak, I should be like champion almost already because I should be playing grand champions at that level because I was on a 30-game winning streak. So that's what like Psyonix I think needs to do in the future, which they haven't done yet because like I think season 3 it's going to be a little bit of a shit show for the first month because people are going to be like, holy crap, you rank up really slowly. Plus, you're going to be playing a lot of like pros as well because they won't rank up as quick.
And pros will be playing other pros. Like it will be.
It's going to be a little bit of a shit show.
It's going to be tough. Yeah, it's going to be a challenge. It's basically like what happened to me on Xbox, right? Like the Xbox leaderboards have no grand champions still because everybody's starting off low. So it's just taking so really long to build up that difference. But the thing is they are showing that they're continuing to work on it. Oh, yeah, they're listening to feedback. And that's what makes me happy is to see these changes come through. And a lot of like really like the changes that people were asking for, like just like people complaining about the family sharing, like they did something about it.
Yep.
So I'm really encouraged by it. And people I think all this discussion is really great because it does allows Psyonix to get a really good view into what their community thinks about this and the real issues and opinions. So I'm excited about it. I think that yes, I agree. Like the whole full reset is going to be tough, but like they said in their article, that it's going to give them a very good data set.
Yeah,
it's going to be really good data for them to go off of and to use it as a learning experience, how to continue to improve the matchmaking system. We're not even a year into Rocket League's release yet, are we?
Yeah, no, it's coming up next month.
Nope.
And we've already had, this will be the third iteration or the third change that they've had in the matchmaking system. So I'm really looking forward to continuing to play ranked in this game because they're continuing to make it better and better.
I think we just need two things. I think that we need solo 2v2 playlists in
I
competitive.
did see you say that.
I was
I
gonna
just, like-
say this next. I was gonna be like, we need only
Like,
solo playlists,
just
but
just solo like
Everything.
for boosting, like just a solo playlist. Like you'd have solo threes and you also have solo twos because you typically see the boosting, or at least it's more commonly referenced at
Party
least.
up.
Yeah,
it's party
in
up.
twos because it's very easy to find one person on a low account, one person on a high account, and then you know that average is going to be consistent. So just make like a solo twos playlist so that people can't team up, and you can just go in and play twos if that's what you like, or you find it easy to rank up or whatever, but you don't have to worry about running into boosting parties. That's my first thing.
That's why
So-
I love the solo threes, because like I say,
Yeah.
the solo threes leader, like the
Is the
solo threes
only
rank
true
is the
leaderboard?
only true rank
I know,
that I
yeah.
look at, because
Yeah.
everything else can be manipulated.
Yeah, I agree with that too. The second thing is that I feel like there's a little bit of a notion or a misconception with some community members that season 3 is going to fix. I've seen these comments like it's going to fix smurfing completely. That is not true.
No.
Like that is, and my concern in regards to that is people are saying like, I don't get why people are wanting to even have this discussion because season 3 is right around the corner and everything will be fixed, so we don't have to have this conversation. That's not true. Like this is a really important conversation to have, regardless of whether or not season 3 is happening or not. Like it's something that the community like needs to have, especially at this early in its infancy. Like you were saying, James, like, we're not even into a year into the game yet still.
Yeah.
So it's a really crucial time for the community to make these decisions for itself as to how it views these topics, talks about these topics, approaches them, handles them, so on and so forth. And so I think it's really important to dispel the notion that season 3 will fix smurfing. It will
Hardly
not fix smurfing.
any things will ever fix.
You
like,
can't look at any
Yeah.
game like you said with multiplayer ranks. Like I absolutely commend Psyonix for their efforts and that they're doing, rolling out. In
They're
season
doing
3
what they
to-
can, right?
They're doing what
But
they
there's-
can,
you
and I think
can't
it's great.
eliminate it.
like one thing,
But I
think,
don't want the community to think that it will be gone forever because that is absolutely not the case. So
Yeah.
we still need to have the conversation.
And like boosting will still happen because like if your friend
Yeah.
is a superstar and if you really want to boost one, then you buy a new copy, or say you're on PlayStation, then you don't even have to. Then you can just switch accounts.
Right,
And
yeah.
you just have to get 3 ranks below them, which is not very hard to do, and then just play with them the entire time. And you can boost them to wherever you want. If you like are a grand champion anyway, you'll boost them to grand champion eventually. Like if you did it, so it'll still exist for sure. It'll be a little bit harder, which is good. But the one thing I think is like with the season, Psyonix, like I wish they were a little bit quicker, like on their seasons. Like I think they drag on a little too long.
Like shorten them.
Yeah, shorten them a bit. But Psyonix Corey, he actually said he was testing the idea of like I'm not sure if it was either win streaks like or placement matches of you start getting ranked against much harder opponents quicker.
There's
So-
a lot of probably
which is
interesting
good
stuff that they can do.
because Psyonix never mentioned that they were changing anything in the actual rank system. They're just like, we're gonna reset it and watch it. So
'Cause- and I
my
think
assumption
that'll
was
be
just
a-
like nothing's gonna change.
Yeah,
So that's
and I
good.
think a lot of it too that we have the issues with, like Kronovi and players that are at the top of the leaderboard, is that their MMR just got too high, and now because it was too high, whenever they queue, they just lose points only.
Yeah.
And so the people who don't queue just stay up at the top, and people don't want to queue because they don't want to go off the top because they'll only lose points. So I think the reset will be a good overall, and I'm excited to start playing solo threes again, because the queues never
I
they
hope
just
people
never
actually
happen.
play it. That's
So
the
yeah, I
thing.
hope people play solo playlists again. But there was a comment by Corey. He said when you made the comment, Mason, about solo 2v2s, he says that would splinter the player base too much. And maybe as kind of something that could address both is, could you have a preference to where, if possible, the system will match
against
all
teams,
solo
always,
players
yeah.
against solo players and all teams against teams? Could there be some sort of preference? I
But,
know
like,
it might
if
not
they
eliminate
did-
everything,
Yeah.
but it might be cool. Like I would be down waiting maybe an extra 30 to 60 seconds if I would get, X% more solo games if I'm queuing solo.
And then eventually they're like, screw it, we'll throw
Yeah.
it on a team if you have to.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
personally, like we've been calling for since the start. Like even when like I was telling Sonics like we need ranked and we need solo playlists, and they decided that we'd have one solo playlist and then we would just have normal playlists or whatever. And I'm like, one thing I wish they did from the start in SARP, everything was solo. And then they had teams, like clans, basically, like League of Legends
yeah.
does. And then you could play in clan matches. Problem is, what they think is, because in SARP, no one played them at all. Because, one, SARP was a really small game. So, I understand why they think that. But this game got pretty big, and I wish they would just do that instead. And just be like, all right, you have clans. You can only go into team 2s or 3s if you are a team. And then you have solo 2s and 3s. like really,
I think a
like
clan
it's only added one
playlist would be
playlist.
really, really interesting. They did that in Halo 2.
Oh my
They
God, I
took
love
it out
that.
though,
I
which I
loved
don't
Halo 2.
understood
Yeah.
because I loved playing that in Halo 2.
That's another reason why I say Halo 2 is better than Halo 3, James, by the way. But we won't get into that subject.
Yeah.
Anyway, but like they say, it splinters the players, but it's really only one more playlist. And like, I think just it would help so much. I think like if you could only go into team 2s or team 3s as a full team, like if you have 2 people on, too bad, you cannot play team 3s. Simple as that. Just make it only for 3 players. That would help. But yeah, like the ranking systems in general, like I always watch the 3s and 2s leaderboards and like, hey, look, DeBoer's ranked #1 on both. I wonder how that happened. Like, I'm not stupid. Come on. We all know that's like, there's been plenty of boosters that have boosted up the 3s and 2s. And like, some tournament organizers were like, well, we could use the rank 2s. I'm like, no, the only playlist that you can use is solo 3s because that's the least problematic one. Like, there's still ways to manipulate it, but it's a lot harder.
And maybe we don't need a leaderboard, honestly.
That's true.
Like maybe we don't need a leaderboard because then why would you? Maybe not. Like to me, I don't care. Like the leaderboard, I am a slave of the leaderboard, right? Mm-hmm. Like as a competitive person, there's a top 100. I want to be in the top 100. Yeah, but in Counter-Strike, all I want to do is get to global elite. You know, if we didn't have a leaderboard, which like I don't know, it might be too late to do something that drastic, but it would be less incentive for people to boost all the way up to the top. Like then you're just trying to get to grand champion, and the spirit of matchmaking should be to have matches that are honest to your skill level, and there will still be boosting, obviously, but maybe not to the extent that we see it now.
But like at the same time, like you were saying, like Kronovi right now doesn't want to play ranked because he can't move anywhere. Well, once you're a grand champion, then what's the point of playing ranked if they don't care about
to entertain viewers?
No, yeah, you know? Yeah, like exactly. Like I don't. So like personally for me, I'm like, yeah, that's fine. Like I would just play ranked, but I think a lot of players want to see that progression, and if they don't have it, then they're just gonna be like, let's make a new account. So it's like
I don't know because I played Halo. I played Halo 3 and I got to 50 in MLG, and I would keep queuing 50 in MLG.
Yeah.
So that I could build up to where I would never lose my 50, and I'd get to play semi-pros and pros in Halo. So I think it.
Like I think it's like different mentalities. Like I think some players would and some others wouldn't, and it's hard to balance that. Like maybe they come up with a new system once you hit Grand Champion that isn't about like points. Like somehow they come up with something different to entertain you with, to try and build up on a different leaderboard that's not MMR based. Maybe it's based on wins or something. More of just like if you play a lot, you'll get ranked up a lot. Of course, they would have to balance that in a certain way. That
I don't want the Call of Duty system, man.
I was just gonna say that. I was just gonna say that. I was just gonna say it.
Like maybe like your average of 20 games, like your most recent 20 games. But then there's problems with that because if you have a really good 20 games in a row, then you just stop.
Let me print out your participation award right now and give it to you.
Well, no, like you would have to be grand champion for this to like start. But yeah, but there's problems with every system, and what we're talking about now is like it's just really hard to make a good ranking system.
Yeah,
like it takes a long time. Yeah.
It seems like it would be impossible. Easy, but it's so hard.
It's so hard. It's so hard.
It's because you can't make everybody happy.
Yeah, there's no way.
You're trying to make everybody happy, but it's very, very difficult to do, and so you're never gonna make everybody happy with the thing, and then you get the people who are really vocal about it, and all of a sudden it seems like a big issue, and
then it's really not.
It's sometimes. Like. So I mean, it's complicated. So
for sure,
yeah,
it's a hard thing for any game maker to make a quality ranking system, and no rank system is perfect. I've never seen one that I enjoy, like completely, like 100%. Halo 2 might have been the closest, but that was because I didn't rank up all the way to the top. But I understand that people at the top
50, and I really enjoyed it too.
Yeah, but
because
like at the same time,
the fun of it was of continuing to play against top players in the game.
Exactly.
Like that's what kept me playing.
Like, and those top players, they shouldn't be caring about ranked anyway. They should be more focused on tournaments. So it really shouldn't matter to them what their ranked is. But I think a lot of pro players like don't want to lose their rank because they want to be like, well, I'm a pro and I want to be like the top ranked person. It's like you don't really have to be. Like people in like League of Legends, like a lot of them are not up at like the top because they're more focused on tournaments and focusing on practice and stuff like that. And it's like that's what they should really be doing, the top players. And like the players right below them should be fighting for those spots, which makes sense because that gives like teams like, oh, like this guy seems really good. He's a #1 ranked and everything. Maybe we try him out so we can boot Gibbs off the team because he fucking sucks.
Well, the main thing is that the matchmaking system is getting you matched up against people that will make you better because it's hard to beat them, right? So in that sense, I think that we still have a very good system, better than a lot of games. But obviously, since we love the game and play it all the time, we've uncovered the parts of the system that we wish could be better. And so, we're getting there. I'm overall, though, just to put a bow on that one,
let's get the hell out of
I
here.
think that we have a bright future. We're making changes,
totally.
and we're gonna keep making it better and more fun.
Oh, for sure. Silence is doing a great job.
Yep.
Way to go, Silence.
But of course, like it's for discussion. Like we always want everything to get better and better. And so, this is what we're talking about. That's just how it works. All right. So back to the topic of Mason. We got Mason here. And let's just get to know Mason,
Yeah.
Hey,
Mason.
Mason.
Mason is an enigma.
Hey,
It's
Mason.
like a dating show.
Who are you voting for in November? No, I'm just joking.
Do you go with Bachelor on the left or the Bachelor on the right?
Do you like pigeons or potatoes?
I'm suddenly so uncomfortable in this call.
Yeah, right. But Mason, so just tell us your gaming background.
Maybe you
in
should
general.
start out with the tweet from Pluto.
All right, fine.
Okay.
Pluto says, I don't know a lot about Mason. What is your role at NZXT, and who is your favorite pro player?
2 questions. That's a loaded one.
I know.
All right. Well,
Fit it all
the
in
first
there.
one's easy. I'll have to think about the second one. So the first one's easy. So I work for NZXT, and I'm the social media specialist is my job title. So what that means is that I run all the social media channels for NZXT. So like our Twitter, our Facebook page, Instagram, YouTube, Twitch. Those are basically the ones that we're on right now. So if you see stupid memes getting tweeted out, that's definitely going to be me. I mean, we have other teams that exist on our social media, like our customer service team, which, by the way, they're heroes. They're freaking fantastic. So they're always on there answering questions and responding to issues. But most of the time, here you're seeing someone posting content or just interacting with people. I'm the guy
humanity you?
Well, see that.
Okay.
We adopted that from the community, but that's only because I'm on there talking to people and saw that and was like, "That's genius!" Yeah, someone that came from the community, and so then I was like, "That's so brilliant!" So I want to adopt that as the running joke for. I mean, the Hugh thing, when you see that spam in RLCS whenever our Hugh Plus ad plays, that's community stuff. We didn't come up with that. It's just that's all community stuff that people took and just ran with that meme. So it was a lot of fun. So I love my job getting to. Just community management kind of stuff and talking to people and just started building those relationships. So that's what I do. And then my newest kind of thing within the last couple of months has been, I don't have an official job title for it, but I'm basically the Rocket League operations guy at the company. So, I mean, and I do the video content for Rocket League. I do our blog articles for Rocket League. I do a lot of our graphics, our assets for
Making
giveaways
gifts,
and stuff.
right? I see those.
Yeah, making the clips, the highlight clips that I like to share, just because I just like to brag now. And streaming on our Twitch channel, streaming Rocket League, because I was actually a Rocket League community member prior to getting picked up to NZXT. I've only been at NZXT since not very long, March, I think it was when I started. I've been there a really, really short amount of time, and I was making. Some people already know me as Rough Raiju on YouTube, so I've got a couple tutorial videos on there, like a fast kickoff tutorial and an aerial kind of tips and tricks video. And then I got picked up by NZXT to be their first full-time streamer. So I got brought on specifically to stream Rocket League on their channel, and then I eventually got hired as full-time guy for social media, and then we decided to sponsor RLCS, which I was talking to our founder about this. We should do this. This is a really cool thing. We should be involved in Rocket League, and it's really cool being part of a company that listens to that. And so, long story short, I do Rocket League stuff at NZXT, which is a dream. It's awesome.
And you're the best freestyle aerialer in the company.
Yes. Yeah. Everyone else is no. It's yeah. And yeah, that's my job in a nutshell, basically. And so, and I handle the relationship with Rocket League Central, of course, who we just partnered with, which is awesome.
Yeah,
So
cases. I don't get a case, but I will beat somebody up to get that case. As soon as we know who has it, I'm going to that address, and they are not.
I'm keeping that info confidential for me because it could get really hairy. So yeah, so that's a ton of fun for me. And then as far as my favorite pro player, I gotta give it to
Snas.
Or well, no,
Snasky, because he tweeted at you.
Yeah.
No, because Snasky and I have been buddies for a while now. Mm-hmm. So Snasky is just a really funny guy.
How much money did he give you?
Yeah, not enough.
Yeah, well,
so we'll have a talk later. But, I like Snasky a lot. No, because I got to play with Snasky pretty early on. It was the day I met Cloud Fuel, actually. I got pulled into a lobby with Snasky. Jazzy was there too. And my mind was just like exploding. I was like, oh my god, like I didn't really know who they were, but I knew they were pros, and the stuff that they were doing was completely unbelievable to me. And then Snasky, I just kept talking with him after that, and he would play games with me, and he was the one who taught me how to do like quick aerials, and he like instructed me on like doing like off the wall aerials and stuff like that. So for me, he's just this really cool guy. He's a cool friend, and he's hilarious too. Like he's such a good personality. So I love Snasky. I like his cat photos. For his profile picture.
There you go.
Yeah, he's a good dude. So I'd have to throw that one to Snasky to answer that part of the question.
And then like the follow-up question, like for people that don't know what NZXT is, if you want to give a short.
Oh sure, yeah. There's plenty of people who still don't know who we are. Yeah, it feels bad, man. So we're we're a PC hardware company. So we make accessories for PCs, for gaming PCs. Specifically, we're most well known for our cases because that's like our primary focus in our product line. So we make really high quality cases for gaming rigs or whatever you want to build with it. But we like to focus on gaming. We also make accessories like our Hue Plus lighting system, which you'll see during the Rocket League Championship Series. You'll see the ads play for that.
Room Plus lighting system, right?
Yeah, Room Plus. Yeah, the full size version. We make coolers. We make. I've got one sitting right here that I still need to install. Like all-in-one liquid cooling systems, fans, like all those different kind of things for computers. And so that's what we do. We don't make full PCs, which is kind of like a misnomer. We don't actually build full PCs. We are in the business of like, we like to give people the knowledge to build their own because we believe really wholeheartedly in building your own PC and the benefits around that. So that's what we do. We give people the knowledge, we give people the quality parts, we give them the support. Even if you don't buy from us, we'll still support you in building your PC if you have questions.
So if I am just bought these components off Craigslist, I can just call NZXT.
Call up Mason.
Like, literally, I bought this stuff. Help me.
Yeah, literally, yeah. That's what we do.
I can't build a PC for the life of me. So
the Craigslist challenge just happened. Yep. Somebody please buy a bunch of random.
Oh, Harry's gonna be like, "What did you tell the internet?
what kind of motherboard do you have? I don't even know. I have no idea.
No, I mean, that's what we actually like. We actually do that. Like our customer service team is like we have someone in the office around the clock, and they're really good people because everyone's really passionate about building computers. And like literally, we get people like, I don't know what I'm doing. I did something wrong, and this thing seems broken. Help me. And we're like, all right, sure.
I put ketchup on my CPU, and now it won't work.
You would be surprised as to what happens. It's actually kind of ridiculous, but it's a lot of fun, so we enjoy it. So
nice.
Awesome.
I actually have an NZXT case from iBuyPower because you guys partner up with iBuyPower. So
our iBuyPower uses our cases for a lot of stuff. Yeah,
sexy as fuck.
I haven't built a new computer in over 3 years.
That's
feels bad, man.
Yeah.
Time to upgrade. Yeah. But one good question here as well was, what previous games have you played?
Not a lot. I feel like I'm one of those like weird, like atypical gamers who, like, you think of a gamer and someone like spends a lot of time gaming. Like, I don't pick up a lot of games myself. I mean, I know there's a lot of people who are like me too, who just like you play a game for like a long time, and then once you're done with that, you'll find something new. Once you're kind of tired of that, but that's like maybe for me, it's like once every like 3 years I'll pick up a new game. I'm really weird that way. So previous games, let's see. I'd have to throw it out to Armored Core, the Armored Core series from Software, the same makers as Dark Souls. It's like their very weird cult like classic that no one knows about. It's a super long running mecha title of giant robots. I picked that up on PS2, Armored Core 2, Another Age on PS2 when I was really young, and I played that series for the longest time. Wow. So I've been always into like giant robots and stuff. Actually, and really.
God. I am a giant robot. Oh well, go mad.
No, sorry, I couldn't help it. You said the word robot.
Too much robots.
It had to be done. Let's see. I'll say Blazation's in chat. Hey, I used to play Halo a long time ago. Yeah, that's true. I played Halo. I did play Halo.
1 or 2 or 3?
2 and 3.
Which one's better?
And I didn't play 2. Definitely.
No!
Yes!
Definitely 2.
Boom.
Hot sauce or fire sauce?
Yeah, which one?
Fire sauce.
No!
Sorry.
All right, so we have a new co-host of DFH Locker Room. James is the special guest this week because he's leaving now, and me and Mason are now new best friends.
Yep,
it's just the way it works.
But yeah, so I think like the titles that I can point to as being really influential for me as a gamer were Counter-Strike. I started playing on like 1.5. And then MechWarrior leading up into Armored Core. And that's like, and then Ghost Recon series I played a lot. Rainbow Six series I played a lot. And then now, these days, it's like strictly Rocket League and strictly Hatsune Miku Project Diva series.
What the hell is that?
It's like Guitar Hero times Japan
Okay.
played upside down. It's
What?
just the most fantastic, addicting rhythm game of my life. I bought it on a whim when I bought my PS3 used. It was like on a shelf by itself on sale for like less than $20. I just grabbed it. I was like, whatever. Like,
Give it a
it's
whirl.
so good.
It's
So those
kinda
are the
like
two
how-
games I play.
So do you stream that?
That's
Now
so
we gotta get you
On
to stream
occasion,
it.
I do stream it. I don't
Okay.
stream it
Oh
a
my
ton,
gosh.
but I do on occasion.
'Cause I gotta watch
Okay,
this.
so that game I'm hesitant to stream because the people who come to watch those stream
Are, like,
expect you to be like
hardcore.
really, they're like
Yeah.
really hardcore fans, and they're
Makes
like, you are trash, and I'm like, oh. So I only stream if I know like my good friends are gonna watch because they enjoy it. They like those streams. It's a lot of fun
Yeah.
to play. And it's a lot of fun to watch because it's anyway. So, but yeah, I don't stream it that often because I usually walk away feeling really bad about myself after. So
It's
gotcha.
like
Makes
it's like
sense.
playing Osu casually. People just be like, God, this guy is
they just
terrible.
rip into you. Yeah, exactly. It's like the same thing. So
I'm in the same boat as you though. When I play a game, I play it that game pretty much only.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then like I'll have at the most like I don't look at my Steam library. I do have like over 200 games which I have never played.
Oh
but
yeah.
I don't
I have a ton
like,
too.
I don't
from
look at it and be like, you know
bundles.
what? I
just buy
haven't
'em.
beat Fallout 3. Let me try to go do that. Nope. It's like
Nah.
max 2 or 3 games ever.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, I swap a lot between multiplayer games. Like it depends on the game. Like Halo 2 held my attention for a really long time. SOCOM held my attention for a really long time.
oh, that was a really SOCOM 2 was awesome.
Yeah, SOCOM 2. See,
Gibbs loved
James,
that
why are
stuff.
you here? Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, at least you like Shadowrun, James. So I'll give you
Yeah.
that. Mason, have you
did
played
like-
Shadowrun for 360?
I
The
played it
shooter?
and I didn't play it very long.
Okay,
I don't
Mason,
think there was anything
all right,
really.
just don't say any more, Mason, because
I
I
won't
love
try
you
to-
right
You're
now.
in good graces.
I love
right
you right now. So
Did
don't-
Armored Core have ranked?
Did Armored Core have ranked? Yeah, it had ranked, but no one played ranked. No, this is actually a really interesting thing. No one took the ranked leaderboards in Armored Core seriously because it reset every single month.
Okay.
And so people would be like, there's no point. Like, no one felt like they had anything to work for because all their hard work would be gone at the end of the month. So the way that people actually ranked players in Armored Core is everyone would play unranked, but it was such a small, tight-knit community that everybody knew each other.
Yeah.
And so there were very clearly established top players who everyone just knew. It was similar to kind of like Rocket League right now. Rocket League is far and away still way bigger than Armored Core community ever was, sadly. But it's kind of the same thing where you have all these really prolific players within the community who everybody knows and they know they are skilled. And you could, like without even looking at the leaderboard, you could drop a name and people would be like, that person's a top player.
Yeah.
It's the same way for Armored Core community.
Yeah, James bot.
So,
everybody knows.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
it's kind of like with PC servers back in the day for shooters. People would just
Yeah.
chill on the same server, so you knew the top players on that server.
Yep.
Like that's how I was with SOCOM. SOCOM 2 and SOCOM 1, we played in the Hanok server, so no one played there. So we knew the 200, maybe the 500 people that played there. And of course, if you were a top player, everyone knew who you were. And that's
Yep.
what we did in SOCOM 2. We went to like Canada West 1. We would always play on that server just so we knew the same people, which was really cool.
yeah.
But you don't get that anymore because every single game has matchmaking systems now, which is
And
great.
Call of Duty still doesn't. They like disguise. They don't want people to know how bad they really are. Because everybody who play, well, I'm painting
Well,
with a
I
broad
mean,
brush
like,
here, and
there's
I'm
no
doing
servers.
generalizations. But everybody
Like
who
a
plays
roller.
Call of Duty, yeah, everyone who plays Call of Duty thinks they're the God's gift to Call of Duty.
Oh, yeah,
They're
yeah.
like, dude, I'm so good. I went on a 45 kill streak. And it's like, and I'm level 75 in Prestige 10 times. But you really don't know how good you are in comparison to anybody else.
Yeah,
so.
they did skill-based matchmaking and like in the recent games, like Black Ops 3, I think, and everyone like hated
Oh,
it
Yeah,
because they were
well,
like, now I can't just fool around and get a 50
my
kill
reality
streak.
has been shattered. I'm actually a silver.
It's like
But you would
like,
never.
I don't
admit
want
that,
even
though.
games. Yeah, like it's
Yeah.
it's like I don't want my KD to be 1. It has to be 3, or else
Yeah.
I'm done. It's like it's really lame. But like I just mean like private servers where like Unreal Tournament you would always go to the same
sure.
places and
Yeah.
stuff like that, which like is missing. Like I don't mean matchmaking services as in like to compare skill, but I just mean like it throws you into a game you can never play against the same people again if you don't know them, so you can't really get to know them. But all right, so that was good talk all about Mason. Actually, Caston. Have you casted before, or was this your first experience with Rocket League Central?
When I casted with Rocket League Central, the only casting experience I had prior was I'd actually organized and cast an Armored Core tournament like a year prior.
Okay.
Just like I did the whole thing by myself. Oh, actually, that's a lie, because my friend had this tradition. It's called the Lily Cup, named after his daughter, that he'd run for like 6 years or something prior to that. And he handed me the reins one year, like a year and a half ago or whatever. And I basically took over that. I cast it by myself. But I'd never cast prior to that. It was just like I felt like I could do and wanted to do because I was streaming Armored Core at that time, making Armored Core content. So I was pretty comfortable in terms of like talking to a mic in front of a webcam and stuff like that. So, but I really wanted to do Rocket because I love Rocket League. I freaking love Rocket League, and I watched the cast. I'm like, that looks like so much fun to cast. So I was super hyped when I got to, and hopefully it showed in the casting.
Cloud was trying to get you to cast before you even joined NZXT. He was trying to get you. So so it took a long time, but it finally happened.
Yeah, it took a long time to make it happen, but that's what I appreciate too. Like Cloud, like very early on when we first started talking to each other, and he was watching my stream and stuff. He was like, dude, like you should do this with us because I think you would really like it. And it would be fun, and I think you're a good fit for it. And I was like, thank you, man. I appreciate that so much. Like, that felt really good, and I'm so happy that I got to do it and contribute to, like, the Rocket Royale and Rocket League Central, and that we get to do more stuff because of our partnership, so it's going to be awesome.
We did a fine job.
Just fine.
We did fine. It was fine.
I think it was fine. I think it was fine.
It was ludicrously fine, in my opinion, but the rest of the people didn't seem to agree on that poll. It's whatever.
One day we'll do a good job. I'm convinced.
Oh, all right, so thanks, Mason. That was a good combo. Like that's the most we've ever like talked about one person, except for James, because he's a selfish prick.
Yeah, but he just that's just like that's.
But nice. So talking about being selfish, James, why don't you talk about Get MERC'D?
Yeah, so this was pretty funny. So you have had a history of doing Cosmic After Horse in the past.
And one other drunk stream that I deleted promptly because I said way too much during the first one that I ever did. I'm like, please no one ever recorded it, and I don't think anyone has, thank God.
But yeah, so in the spirit of Cosmic After Horse, we decided to do another Cosmic After Horse type stream where we just drink and play Rocket League in an ESL tournament. And we named our teams Get MERC'D, kind of after the RLCS emote, MERC'D, and also the fact that, yes, I am a MERC player now. Like, I can legitimately say that the MERC is the best card in the game, and that I am now using it full time. And that anyone who does not use it is putting themselves at a disadvantage. But
really
in that spirit,
new hosts. I'm really thinking
in that spirit, we named our team Get MERC'D, and we had it was a lot of fun. Like, it was ridiculous. We had a lot of people come out and just have a blast. My chat went to crap, which was pretty funny. Art was there trying to moderate it all, but it was, oh my goodness, it was a lot of fun.
It was a good time. Like, we have Twitch highlights up from both our stuff. Like, one of my favorite moments was I was literally dying laughing, crying, and I somehow scored a goal. It was fantastic. I'll be having the YouTube clips go up all week. And, it was a good time. There was, one guy that I noticed, and it might have been more, of, hey, my little kid watches this. This isn't really appropriate. It's well, we do put our streams on mature audiences only for these instances. Because, obviously not every stream is going to be like that. So it's hard. Because, Twitch is just hard in general with that. Because, some people say, some people are just kid-friendly. And, we've never presented ourselves that way. But I understand because, we aren't very vulgar and stuff like that while we stream.
Unless you're Carpet. Carpet is super vulgar.
Oh, yes. We already know Carpet. Yeah, that's fine. But it's my streams are usually not that vulgar, so it's just I understand why someone might get mad. And who knows? It could have just been a troll. I honestly don't know.
Yeah, I think it was a troll. But it is an important thing to bring up. Yeah. And like we said, we do, there is a setting that says this is mature audience. And when we're streaming, we are being ourselves. We're remaining authentic, and we're not trying to be someone we're not.
And
right?
we're not trying to be racist or anything. We're just having a good time. It wasn't anything.
That's good.
Yeah, exactly. It's not like we get drunk and go on a racist tirade. It's more I'm talking about how uncomfortable boxes are because something flops out all the time
on stream. Yeah. That would also be bad.
Exactly. We're not sacrificing animals. It's not that big of a deal. But figure why not bring it up. And then the other thing, Kings of Urban are just garbage. We just 3-0'd them. It was simple. Don't watch the videos. Don't worry about it. Easy top 15 power rankings coming up for Get MERC'D because we beat KOU. But no, seriously, Kings of Urban were great. I'll have that video up later in the weekend. It was a lot of fun playing with them, and that's why Kings of Urban are easily becoming a fan favorite team because they do just fun shit, and that was one of them, and they're great guys.
So. They Yeah, and now that they have Flo as their sub, that's even more reason for me to like them. Flo being a former teammate of mine, so really, really awesome. And then Clawfield comes in and says, "No animal this show." That's good. Yes. Don't puke on any dogs or anything.
That's true. No puke can happen either. No headsets were harmed, luckily. So that was good. It was like a tame stream for me compared to James Bond, who was just on a tirade about donations later.
My girlfriend took me to get a whole pizza, and I ate the whole thing right there. And then people were like, "What kind of pizza are you getting?" I'm like, "It was a hot and ready." And they're like, "What? Why?" So I don't know why.
Literally,
I hate my hot and readies, dude. I love
Dude,
hot and
they're
ready.
so good.
they're good when you need it hot and ready. But if you can wait, then
I could eat a hot and ready every day. Like, I love hot and readies.
They're good, man. I'm
James, like, it was hilarious because, like, I was clipping out the rest of the stream, like, I think yesterday, and I'm going through, and then your donation tirade went on for, like, a half an hour, and I was like, I'm gonna skip this part. I was like, that was the only part I skipped in the entire stream to put up on YouTube. I'm like, this literally went on for, like, 20 minutes, like, legitimately. I was like, holy crap. So that was the only part I left out, but it was hilarious, but... Yeah, like if you haven't seen it, we have it on our Twitch past broadcast. It was a good time if you want to see us acting like idiots. That won't be a common thing for me.
Yeah, those are rare ones.
Yeah, but D-Pants also tweeted out, "What does the future hold for Get Merked?" And then he's like, "Validate my potential team to watch for your power rankings," since D-Pants is on the power rankings. And like I could see us doing more tournaments during the week once we have more free time, because now Gfinity, all the tournaments are on PC. Including the Xbox one. Sorry, Xbox users, no more free money for you because now PC players are coming in.
We have entered the arena. A new challenger approaches.
So sorry, Xbox players, you're probably not never gonna win again until like a year from now. But
feels bad.
Yeah, but we will probably do more tournaments. I bet. Maybe not always drinking tournaments, just for fun, but. Or maybe James and Carpet will drink, and I'll just yell at them.
It would. I mean, now that we've got RLCS 5 weekends in a row, like
exactly, it's not gonna happen.
And also, we are actually after there's a VVV tournament tonight, and I am playing in it with Carpet and Waller.
Yeah,
so but we're not gonna be drinking anything other than agua mineral.
Oh, there you go.
So,
but. Yeah, so look out for us doing weird tournaments like that. Like we want to play competitive Rocket League, not at the fullest extent, but we
could do Gfinities. Those are during the week, so MERC'D might make a comeback.
That's what I'm saying. Gfinities and VVV would probably be the tournaments that we play in. We won't be doing a lot of ESLs because we're always busy on the weekends. And then the one time I have a free weekend, I'm probably gonna spend it with my wife after RLCS is over. And of course, once the baby hits, say goodbye to competitive anything probably. But I'll try and come out for some tournaments, but they won't happen that often. But on that. Let's get into the patch. So more news every single week coming out. This week was the big update. They finally revealed the theme of the patch, which they have for every single one. They had a Fast and Furious patch, a Mad Max DLC patch. Now we got Neo Tokyo. I probably missed one in the middle there, but I think that's it. Neo Tokyo, the new map is going to be all redesigned. It's going to look it looks fantastic. It's the background of this video, kind of. Which you can't see that much of, but looks awesome. It is an underpass, but toned down, which I like.
Yeah, I like a lot of the changes that they make.
Yeah, it's hard to tell exactly how it is, but there's flat walls.
It appears to be flat in the back.
Yeah, it's flat in the back, and then the ramps are a lot smaller than they were on the sides. I assume ceiling's shorter.
It looked a little more compressed, but
it's hard to tell until we play it. But that's all good news to me because I thought there was a lot of wasted space in underpass, and it's just turned into a lot of dead time. So you got low scoring games there. So maybe that'll make it better. But Neo Tokyo coming into ranked play. What do you guys think?
I'm super hyped. Super hyped.
Yes, James, man, he's beating you on every we have a bachelor in the middle here, then we have a bachelor on the right. And I am leaning.
Can't stand people having different opinions than you. That's what it is, man.
No, it's fine to have different opinions, but
no,
when
it's
we have
not.
A different
Clearly,
opinion,
you're trying to replace me.
No, I'm just saying, you can't marry someone that just has a different opinion of every single thing. So, we might share a hotel room here or there, but I probably won't marry you.
Okay, don't get me wrong. This might be a fantastic map. It might be amazing. It might be great, but I want to have a vote system. I was joking about it last time when I said Dirk told me because he did it. I was trying to blackmail into making
Blackmail
it happen.
psionics, yeah.
But blackmail generally doesn't end well. So I'm just gonna ask formally that please just put in a voting system
or veto, because like some people
or
are saying
veto. Voting
veto.
or
Yeah.
veto. I will be happy, but I would like voting more than
Last week you were going veto.
because if we get Neo Tokyo and I'm like veto and it gets Wasteland, I'd be like no.
But like that's
So-
why it's kind of good in a way. Like it's
No,
weird
because
because
then you get to if you do that, then you can't tell if people like Neo Tokyo more than Wasteland.
well, no,
if
you
make
can
it up for a vote,
overall. Like you just can't in that one match. But if every single time Wasteland gets vetoed, then you know. Like say the percentage of Wasteland showing up, 90% vetoed. Like they're not going to look at stats of like, oh, they got it on the second random map, so they could see
I
it that
could
way.
see that. I
But
could see that.
which is weird because we were the opposite last week. Like I was saying voting and you were saying veto. But I think both systems have positives
Either
and
one,
negatives.
I would
Yeah.
be happy with.
Exactly. Any of those.
If there
would be
is
great.
an opportunity for me to not have to play Wasteland, like don't get me wrong, like it
Especially in
might
twos.
some people like it, but I just don't like the corners of Wasteland. I don't like how the ball constantly just rolls and spits out right in front of the net. I don't like that.
James,
I like
you
bounces.
gotta turn up
I will
the
never.
wall so it comes out off the wall. You just gotta do something different, damn it.
I don't want to do
Now
something.
you're out of focus
That's
because
the
you hate
thing.
Wasteland.
TTT. I don't want to do something different, Gibbs.
But like I think it's good that they're bringing it into ranked right away because like it's been in Rocket Labs forever, and some people argue, well, like, I don't play Rocket Labs. Well, it's like that means you also don't play on ranked, so you're never gonna see it. So eventually it has to go to ranked. And I understand there's map changes, so some people are like, well, there's some map changes to it. It's like you can get used to those pretty quick, and everyone's gonna have to get used to it at the same time, which is fine.
Well, me and
throw it in
Mason saw a lot of Rocket Labs in the Rocket Royale tournament.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So and there was actually it was like one game like Mach NA scored an ungodly amount of goals on Cosmic.
Oh my god, yeah, that was crazy. Was it 8 goals? I think
Yeah, it was
something
like
like
8
that.
goals.
It was an absurd amount of goals for Cosmic. That blew my mind. That was such a fun match to cast, though.
Yeah,
But I
but
could see
like
the most important.
Psionics is pushing for map diversity, like obviously with Wasteland and now Neo Tokyo, and it's like you just kind of have to go with it. It's hard to like it's up to Psionics what they do. You can say like, hey, I don't really like these, and voice your opinion. It just seems like Psionics wants to get this map diversity out, so it's like
Yeah,
it's gonna be hard to change their
Just-
opinion. But then that's why we need that vote system or veto
just give me a
system.
vote. I'll be
Yeah.
fine with it, man.
Exactly,
Like
because
you can
like
put
a
all the
vote,
stuff
then
that
you get
want.
majority, or veto. It's like 5 out of 6 have to veto it or something like that. Would
Give the
Yeah.
people what they want.
yeah.
I think it's a great idea. I think it never crossed my mind until you guys just brought it up, but I think, and plus that gives the players a sense of a little more control over, the game, which is never.
And then
a
you
bad thing.
blame the people you play against for picking Wasteland, then Psionics for shoving it down your throat.
Yeah, there you go. So yeah,
And
see,
I will
it-
vote
it-
for Wasteland every time. Just
It
to,
directs the blame away from themselves. So I think this is a win-win solution.
yeah, because
man.
like sometimes there is
Hey,
bad maps in
And
games.
if that's the case,
Like-
if I catch you voting for Wasteland for
Like-
real.
Halo
done.
3 had terrible maps that never got voted. Snowbound, like that. And some other maps, it's like they just never get voted because they're bad. And that's a good thing for the community to be like, we just don't like these maps. So they get played less. Sometimes like they still come up because if you have that third vote of random, you still have that chance. But that's fine because it won't come up that often. And then you at least get a taste of it here or there. Maybe you'll change your mind eventually. Because like a lot of players like either went one way or the other with Wasteland. They either hated it at the start and some were like, well, now I kind of like it. Some liked it at first and now kind of hate it, which happens with like a lot of the pro players actually, which I'm actually surprised with because a lot of pros at first were pro Wasteland and now they're like, we don't really like this anymore. So we'll see what happens in the pro scene. Like I do want to see more tournaments pick up the Rocket Labs maps like Rocket Royale or as long as they're polished and ready to go. Like Retro Utopia right now is a little funky on the walls, so I can see why you would leave that one out. But for the most part, like if it looks tournament ready, like Cosmic looks tournament ready, just go for it. Of course, we want bigger goals in Cosmic, but still tournament ready for the most part. So we'll see that coming soon. And then CJ Link wrote, how about some discussion on the inclusion of beans, faces, things that aren't eggs or cars in Tokyo? First time we've seen it, I think. And I think so, besides like statues and stuff like that.
Yeah, there was like a lore post that DM Rawlings is like all about lore and stuff.
Yeah.
And like I am of the opinion that there is no lore. It is just a car soccer game.
Yeah.
Like that's it.
Yeah, some rumors I
I don't
heard
know.
was like they had to say there's no one in the cars to make sure they got E for everyone. So I guess technically there's no one in the cars because of that, or at least no humans. But I really could give I could care less. Like, sure, there's faces. Maybe just like all the humans live in Tokyo, and then like all the slaves just live
There's
everywhere
no
else, and they're
lore.
eggs.
There's just,
They're
it is
eggs.
just.
Maybe that's what it
like-
is. They're all just slaves.
The game did not start with Corey being like, you know what's a really good story? It's like these egg people. They're struggling. They're enslaved by the humans of Neo Tokyo. What would they have to do? Oh, they were forced into controlling cars.
Maybe.
No, what happened was they dropped a ball into a game with Unreal Engine vehicles in it, and they're like, "This is fun," and then they just polished that. That's it, people. No way.
Maybe
any lore
the
is
next
done
patch,
by a
we're gonna have
bored
boss
person
battles.
who's trying to make stuff up.
And it's gonna be boss battles, and it's just gonna be a giant Tokyo building, and you're gonna have to hit the ball on certain parts of it to blow it up, and that'll be the end of the game. That's the end.
If there is lore, then it is lore to be funny.
Yeah, exactly. Like
No.
I care less. Like, it's a multiplayer game, guys.
I would
No one
be
gives a fuck.
interested to hear what the official version is, but if anything,
I don't think they know what the official version is. Like, I bet they change it all the time. Like, all right, let's play some beer pong. Whoever wins gets to choose the lore for the week. Let's go. It's like, I don't know. It's just who cares? I don't know.
Okay.
Like, personally, I could care less. Next up, we had some smaller updates. They announced the trophies and achievements. Personally, I could care less about trophies or achievements. They seem pretty reasonable. Some of them seem a little bit more difficult, like score 2 goals in hoops in the first minute. It's not that hard. And they're all going to be boostable because you can just go into whatever and do them. So, not a huge deal there. And then the showroom. Actually, this is like the most disappointing part of this, in my opinion, because what they're saying is the showroom is only for if you don't have the DLC, then you can look at it. What I want is them to revamp the garage and maybe that go into showroom where you can like have loadouts and all that stuff. Now, like this could be the first portion of that, and eventually that comes.
Well, in the Forbes article that we were talking about last was that last show or 2 shows ago?
2 shows, though.
But okay, but in the Forbes thing, they said in that article that there is they are basically relaunching a new game with all of the content they have planned, and there's a good amount of secret stuff that they haven't told anybody.
That's very true. It could be in there, and we just don't know yet, and that's gonna be like their surprise on June 20th. But for now, just of like, we're just going to show you the DLC in case you haven't bought it yet, and you can like customize your car here with the DLC and then purchase it. Like, it's smart for them, but they should have incorporated everything into the showroom, because otherwise it just looks like, I wouldn't say it looks sellout-y, but it just kind of looks like, like most people don't get much use out of it if they're like already supporting you.
Well, I mean, you definitely want to see. I don't know. I've bought all the DLC without looking at it, but
Yeah,
I
same.
don't remember what it looked like before. Could you see it in a garage and just not pick it?
No,
I don't think
before
you
it was
could.
just like the images, like the static.
Because yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
honestly, it
trailers,
makes
like-
sense. Like, why would you not be able to preview something before you get it?
Yeah,
Like, you can do
right.
that in Counter-Strike, right? Where you view it
Yeah.
and it. So like
Like, I
honestly,
think that's a good idea, but I think they should
that
have
it
had
was
it as
it's-
an announcement.
yeah.
I think
Well,
so. Like
maybe
Gibbs,
put it
so
with
for
something
you, it
else.
was like really low or not even on your wish list, so you're kind of indifferent to
Oh,
it,
yeah, of
right?
course, yeah.
I guess is what you're saying. Like, yeah, I like it, man. I think it's great because I think that the DLC in this game is actually very much a part of the game.
Yeah.
And I mean, you look at like just how many people actually use DLC content, and so I think that the ability to look at it a little more in depth than just like a static image or maybe a product trailer, and like kind of manipulate it, customize it, and see
Yeah.
if this really is something that you want. Because I've like purchased some cars, and I'm like, oh, okay, but I guess
And you're like, oh,
yeah,
this
these
kind
decals
of-
aren't actually as cool as I was hoping they would be,
Yeah.
or something like that. Whatever. Like, I think like being able to have that option is actually really clever. I think I appreciate it if I'm going to be throwing my money at something.
Yeah, for
It gives me a little bit more like assurance, like beforehand, that I'm actually getting money well spent.
Yeah,
I
but
don't know.
I think they
I think it's
should
nice to share.
have the preview, but I just think it wasn't enough
announcement
for an
worthy?
individual announcement. Maybe throw it in with something else that they've been announcing. But of course, like I'm on the side because I bought all the DLC and I don't care. I'm going to buy like everything they have. So I'm a little bit different, I guess. But I bet a lot of
Eric-
people are like, oh yeah, like I really wanted to see what Dominus like looks like with this decal. It's
Right.
like, well,
Well, yeah, I
you-
think it's
you
I
can
think
go
it's
to my
going to be
YouTube,
especially good.
Hey, we have some top secret information right here. Eric says
Oh.
that you can rotate the car in the showroom.
That's true. We haven't been able to do
doesn't
that.
show
yet.
that in the
Oh no,
kit.
we have.
Also, I turned down my volume. There were some people saying that I'm loud.
Okay,
so
so
hopefully
rotate in the
this
showroom.
is better.
I mean,
But that's pretty cool. But I get what you're saying, where it's like that's cool, but as a hardcore player, I'm not going to get excited about that as like a hype announcement.
Yeah,
it's more of just a bullet point.
Yeah, like obviously, like I think like not every announcement has to hype me, but like, I just think like if you're gonna have this awesome showroom, why not put the whole garage in there? And
Gibbs is so hard to please.
Exactly. Like, come on, please me. Like I'm on my throne. Bring me grapes. Like, but no, like I just
Dionix
think
must
the whole
please me.
garage should be there. Like if they're building it out, and I assume if they're building this out now, eventually that'll come. You know, so that's probably what it's for. But if like it turns out to be just for the DLC, I'll be disappointed down the line. But I expect them to probably tie in the garage, tie in loadouts. Seems like it would go that way, but who knows? We'll see what they come up with. All right, we're going to talk about Gfinity adding the PC players to Xbox, so sorry Xbox players, but which sucks because me and James were going to just start running over you guys soon, but well.
Wait,
now we'll have to
what?
play with PC players.
Oh, yeah, right? Just running a racket on our Xbox.
Next up, we actually went really long so far because of that whole first conversation. We'll try and do this pretty quick, so I gave you guys some links to the RLCS group predictions because RLCS is this weekend. This is the end of the open qualifier, so I wanted to talk about like, hey, who's going to make it? Who's going to be the 6 teams from each region to make it? We'll probably go over these pretty quickly. But you can click the projected. Like, I don't know like if you use Smash a lot, but there's a projected in the top right that'll show you like who they project, who will face. So that'll help us get some matchups a little bit easier. So let's just go down the line for North America. First, we got Exodus, which I didn't realize that was their name. I didn't even see them announce it. That's Vex Gaming.
Vex?
Yeah, that's Vex. Mm-hmm. I didn't even know that was their name. But I don't know what they're doing over there. But they're probably going to wind up facing Fake Out Nation. I don't think anyone else is that tough for that group stage spot. Fake Out Nation has been doing decently, but I don't think they're any match for Vex, especially with Moses now. I think they get in pretty easily to groups. Mm-hmm. I don't know about you guys, but
I think they've been looking really good. Obviously, like the projected is pretty accurate until I get down to retrospect. I honestly think that Lucky Bounce might take down retrospect.
That entire group, like those 8 teams, that's a pretty tough group. We have the Gaze, which is J-Raw's team with Ozzy, Sad Koala, I think are the starters. So they might even take down retrospect. I think retrospect wins that game, but then Lucky Bounce just 3-0'd retrospect in ESL this past weekend. So
Lucky Bounce has been doing really good.
And Xylophone Zebras are still there. Like, they've been pretty decent. Like, that entire bottom half is, like, really, really tough. Like, I feel like the other guys have it pretty easy. Mock it over Chemistry. We haven't seen Chemistry in the past month, like, at all. They played one Rocket Royale, didn't do crap.
Yeah. They didn't do that last time, though, and they ended up getting in. Matten says they're really good, but I just don't, like, I don't even know if they're playing ranked or what they're doing.
I've seen some of them, sometimes they've scrimmed. I saw them scrim and Fake Out Nation the other week, like last week, but I just don't know if they're ready. But at the same time, last time I had them as like that 9th place team losing to Vision, but they wound up beating Vision, so who knows? Like they can still make it through losers. It's just I'm just not sure with them. They're a big question mark, maybe more so than some of these roster moves because we just haven't seen them play, and they're the only team that didn't make a roster move that made it to groups last time. And then Genesis will play Vision. That's Imperial now. I expect Genesis to cakewalk through that as well. I don't expect too much ever, but like Vision sometimes comes out strong. Well, we'll see. Like that could be like an upset alert, like a super upset, but I doubt it. And then if we go down to the losers, that's where it gets a little iffy. Where it's like there's like the Gaze down there. There's Xylophone Zebras. There's Chemistry. There's Fake Out Nation. Kindergarten. They're all battling for that spot. It's going to get hairy, I think. Like, last time we got 7 out of 8 right, or 8 out of 8, depending on who picked Chemistry or not. Or at least I did. And, like, that's the one spot.
I can't remember how that group picked.
Yeah, that's the one spot I'm worried about. Like, I think Retro will probably make it, even if they lose to Lucky Bounce. I think they can beat Vision, which is their likely opponent. But we haven't seen Retro enough, so it's like...
Yeah, they do have Geno Cobb and Classics and Kyle. So it's a solid team. It is a solid team, but I haven't really seen them play a ton.
Yeah, Chrome actually said on Twitter today, he was just like, no teams in NA Scrim And the one team that would scrim us, like, there's player conflict between, I guess, two of the players. So he's like, this sucks. We can't even get scrims in. So if they can't get scrims in, that could be a huge issue for Retrospect because they're the most new team out of all these. And if they don't make it, that opens up the door for Machina because Machina came in 6th and Retro was 5th. So, and Machina has been looking really strong lately, winning like everything. They won ESL, they won Market League, they won RR before that. Yeah. So they're looking strong. It's just like, is that honeymoon period over or not? They have a pretty easy bracket, I think, at the top. They have to beat Chemistry. I think they will. I think they'll get in, but like they have to beat either Genesis or Vex when they get to groups to make it to the LAN. So it could be tough. But I asked Low5, I'm like, are you going to the LAN? He's like, yeah, either way. But he's like, we're going to make it. So he's confident with his new squad with Zane Jackie. And I think I don't know. Genesis is that weird outlier. Like I think Espeon might do really, really, really well on that team.
Espeon is amazing.
Yeah, I think he's
another
really
former teammate who I was able to train, take under my wing, like develop them as a player, and now he's really shining. So I'm glad to just see that my trainee has, started to make something of himself.
Oh yeah, but that's the same with me and Crow and Sad. I kind of trained them.
We're just such good talent development people.
Of course, yeah.
It's what we do.
Sad and Crow were garbage before they met me. Like, oh man, they were awful. Now Crow's over there winning a car at E3, which I'm not sure.
Do we have an update on that?
I don't know. Someone in chat, let us know if he won the car yet. I think it's over. Oh no, it's still going on. I think I'm not sure, but let us know if he won the car. If he didn't, that would suck. But he should win it. But I think NA there might be some close games, especially with it being best of 3. Could be tough, but some of these brackets look really weak, and then that bottom one is just nasty. Like Retro might not even make the finals of the winners bracket because they might lose to the Gays. I think they're going by cucumber rainbows now. The Gays. So all right, that's what J-Rod told me. So we'll take it. I hope we get to shoutcast.
And I just realized their name. Just for clarification, it is spelled Gazz, or Gaze, like I'm gazing at you.
Yeah.
I think that is a troll name.
Yes. I think that's why they were changing.
I just realized that.
Yeah. Yeah, never mind. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. I always saw the spelling, so I never thought about it the other way.
Yeah, me either.
I was even just saying it, and I was like, I don't understand why they would think that's a bad name for like RLCS, because they were probably like, we're not gonna show your games. And I never got it because he even told me that, and I was looking at it, and I'm like, is there some weird Urban Dictionary definition? I sincerely looked this up, and that's terrible. I'm awful. That makes a lot more sense. But yeah, so that's why they're going by cucumber rainbows. I don't know if they'll get streamed anyway, but
Mason, what do you think?
What do you think?
I agree with everything. No, I mean, I definitely think that these predictions more or less look good to me. I don't know. I personally am expecting a little bit. I feel like I would give more credit to Genesis than you guys are personally. Time will tell. I mean, we just haven't seen them enough. But when we saw them in Rocket Royale, I liked the way that squad looked personally.
Yeah, but I think they might do really well. Actually, like
I want them to make the LAN. I just want to say that they're my new favorite team now that they got Espeon. Man, Espeon's my boy.
Hashtag biased, not biased.
I'm not biased at all, and I'm not for one team more than another, but I want Genesis to go to the LAN more than anyone else.
But that roster swap, I think, might have benefited Genesis. I think it also benefited Vex, but I think Espeon could really, really shine there. Because Quinn's a great facilitator, and that's what Espeon probably needs, because Espeon's just really good mechanically, and he could, with him and Pluto just doing their thing while Quinn sets him up, that could be a really, really strong combo.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's basically it for North America. We'll do Europe quickly. I haven't looked at Europe too hard yet. I'm not going to lie. I was going to do some more research throughout the week, but I haven't had time yet. Seems pretty simple. I think Market Esports EU might have a tough time with JJ Squad. They've been looking really good lately. Top 10 team now. I think that could be one of those, oh, crap. Market Esports EU just went to, the losers bracket. Last time we had Weedham Girls versus the Flying Dutchman. How the Flying Dutchman 2-0'd them. I could easily see that happening again with JJJ Squad. Team Solid versus Precision Z. I think both these teams are kind of weak right now. So I think this is the easy bracket. There's also Comrade Gaming in there. I think Precision Z probably wins this
Team
out.
Solid versus Precision Z. Yeah, that's
that's like a weak one, and I think that's like the easiest spot to get into.
Kapow versus Supersonic Avengers.
That's huge because Supersonic Avengers.
Yeah.
They need to do well in the group stage, but they also want to knock out Kapow or the Flying Dutchman because if they do well, it doesn't matter how well they do it, and they still won't make the LAN. So that's actually a really big game for Supersonic Avengers. That one, I hope we get the cast. And then the bottom one's pretty iffy. We got Flying Dutchman. We have Complain there with like Yemen and his squad with X3, I think, again. So they could easily pull up some offsets. And then Effort, like Zero Effort, sometimes they show up, like beating Cosmic in the Pulsar Premier League. Sometimes they don't really show much. I think that bottom bracket, again, is a pretty big question mark. I think any of those three could make it. Boots and Cats might have a good showing. That one could be tough. Mason, any dark horses here?
Dark horses? Not that I would be familiar with or confident enough just due to familiarity to say that they'd be a dark horse. For me personally, no. I'm definitely giving I'm giving it to Flying Dutchman in that bottom bracket, man. Me personally.
Yeah,
it looks like we might
think.
see
like
more random teams from EU make it in than NA.
Yeah, that's just usually how it works,
Potentially.
especially in best of threes. But like I think Flying Dutchman do make it in, but Complain's gonna be tough. I think that's gonna be a tough hurdle. Supersonic Avengers definitely wants Flying Dutchman to lose. Like that's gonna be a big storyline. I really hope Supersonic Avengers makes the groups and Kapow, and the Flying Dutchman, because that's a 3-man race for that last spot for Europe, and that could be really exciting going into group stages. But then we got in the losers bracket the ultimate dark horse, Team Rocket. They're there. They're ready to come in. They're coming in from the losers bracket.
Oh man!
Like I was joking around with Fisho. I'm like, "You're such a dark horse. You're a black hole. That's how dark you are." And then he wrote, what did he write? Like I gotta get the show. Oh, he said, "We suck so bad, not even light can escape us." So, I mean,
That's
who
heavy,
knows?
man.
Who knows? Team Rocket are just gonna go for it. I doubt they're gonna go anywhere.
I
But
don't
that would
think
be
they
awesome.
understand the gravity of the situation, though.
All right,
I mean,
guys.
all right,
was that
it's
supposed
been
to
a
be
good
a fun
show.
too?
It's been a good show.
Guys, the
All right, we're gonna kick James. Mason's my new co-host again. This is like the fifth
so
time.
bad.
That was pretty good. I actually like that one.
I'm
I did
fired.
like it.
It's official. I'm done.
But on the bottom side, like if everything plays out, it could be Precision C versus JJJ squad. Could also be Mach Sports EU down there if JJJ pulls off an upset. That's going to be a tough game. Both those teams are pretty solid. The other side, it's looking like Zero Effort versus either Kapow or Supersonic Avengers. I don't think Zero Effort makes it back in. I think Supersonic Avengers takes their spot basically. The rest of them could make it in, but in Europe, there's always more upsets. So that's what we want to see. It's more exciting. We want to predict wrong because then it's more exciting for us to watch. Like last time Europe groups, we predicted almost to the T, and it's that's kind of boring. So we want to see more upsets, but we're super excited. Like me and James, it's been 4 weekends since we've been there.
Since we've shared a room together.
Oh yeah,
It's
and
been
then we
too
got
long.
Golden Boy back this weekend.
Mason's like, all right.
Yeah, they only give us one bed in these hotel rooms.
Yeah,
So, no,
in just one pillow. It's really
a lot of condoms, but no.
oh, good lord!
Oh, no.
That
Oh
just
man,
escalated.
sorry, took it one too far.
Got out of the hand
I always
really
do that.
quickly.
Oh man, but we're super excited to get back. It should be a good show. Hopefully you guys like it. And then group stages will be next week. Me and James will give full predictions next week in group stages. We're looking at trying to get Doomsy as the special guest for that show. As long as he makes groups. If he doesn't make groups, it's going to be a super depressing show. So we probably won't have him on. So Doomsy, I know you don't care about making groups. You care about being on the show. Make sure you make groups just for that. Besides that, I don't think there's too much else. We had one last question that we'll take from Ol Martin. He asks, what do sponsors bring to a Rocket League team? Some of the best teams don't have one. Kings of Urban and Weedham Girls. I think that's up to the team. Some teams can negotiate for more, obviously. Some teams don't negotiate at all and just want logos, which that's why you see a lot of teams dropping orgs really quickly. The ones that actually get a salary and stuff like that, those are the ones you see consistent, like Mocket. You see iBuyPower. You see Crown and Jewels. Somewhat I'm not sure if they give a salary. I'm not positive about that, but Flipside Tactics. But then these teams that are really good now, maybe they just haven't seen a deal that they like, or maybe not a lot of teams have come to it because it's for Kings of Urban.
I think it's just the one. Yeah, Kings of Urban's been approached, but they just
Yeah, like nothing too great.
They've
And
got a good brand. They don't
Yeah.
want to give it up for
like
not what they.
yeah
don't
for
feel
peanuts or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm at the same point. Like some of the bigger sponsors might not even know who they are because Cosmic kind of overshadows the NA scene. They're kind of like the super popular team that might overshadow what Kings of Urban has done. So I think once that LAN happens and we get to see these teams on the big stage, sponsors are gonna be like, oh crap, like this is a real thing.
Yeah.
And then we'll see better deals. And I could even see people that have orgs start leaving those orgs, going to bigger orgs. Like that could very easily happen with these teams that are like a staple. So I would expect that. But I think Kings of Urban and Wyndham Girls are just waiting. They're like, it's fine. Like we don't need a salary. We're good where we are. Like we're doing our thing. And they're just waiting for that perfect team, which is very smart because you don't want to be locked in. Like some contracts lock you in, some don't. Like personally for iBuyPower, like our contract does not lock us in at all. They're very upfront about that, saying like, "Hey, we have you here, but it's not like a super locking contract where you have to pay us $10,000 if you want to leave." Like some of these other contracts I've seen. So some teams get kind of caught in that. Like SK Gaming, they kind of got caught in it where they weren't even allowed to play competitively once they disbanded for like 6 months. And now that's why you start seeing Jazer coming back and Yemen because now they can compete again. So you just got to be careful, like teams that are signing up for these sponsorships. Make sure that you're not getting locked into something that you don't want to be locked in 3 months because the scene's about to blow up with this first LAN. So just be very, very careful.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head with that. Like my prediction is the same, is that, well, and coming from like part of a company that is looking at Rocket League, like, yeah, you're going to see a lot of more interest in the game and teams specifically. I'm not saying that. I think this game is very much already on companies' radars, but there hasn't been a good precedent set on a big scale, which is exactly what the RLCS is doing right now. So yes, after RLCS LAN, I think you will start seeing some of these teams doing, as you say, being offered contracts that are actually in their minds probably worth their time and worth their effort to maybe drop an org or sign on for the first time. It's just the game is still, it's funny, the game is still in its infancy, but it's so big that we talk about it like it's a really established, really big game already because it's on it's on the fast track. And so I think that sometimes we kind of forget the perspective, like we lose perspective on the fact that it's still a really fresh game. So for companies looking at making companies, teams, people offering salaried contracts, like it's a very right now it is a very like weird, difficult thing to analyze from a business perspective.
Yeah,
there's just not enough data to go off of. There are well-established teams for us in the community. We can look at all these teams and say you're a top team, you're a top team. From an outside perspective, which is where a lot of these different orgs are going to be coming from, and different companies are going to be coming from, they're not plugged in like we are. Like they don't know that kind of stuff, and so their evaluations will be based off of something that they can look at and say, okay, this looks like factual data to us, which will be like RLCS LAN, for example.
Like viewer
so
numbers, all that stuff.
Yeah, exactly. They'll have viewer numbers. They'll have like data that they can probably kind of mine through. And so, yeah, things like KOU, like not signing yet, like it's super smart because they know that they're a strong lineup and that they can put up some good numbers and some performances that people will be able to evaluate actually. And so that is what will get them the contracts. The stuff that's floating around right now, that's up for grabs right now, is fine. Is it going to be the best that's out there?
Fine,
absolutely,
right?
it's fine. Yeah, there we go again.
It's fine.
But will it be the best to come? Absolutely not. Like there's so much
sure.
more to come for Rocket League, and I think that the teams that are sitting on their hands and waiting, it's super smart of them. But then again, you say, like, you made a point of like there are some teams who are just dropping orgs left and right and switching because for them it's a credibility thing. Like that's what like a team name, an org name lends you is credibility, and people are trying to build up their
some people want that, but
their reputations.
You have to stay with one, or else it starts
Right.
looking like
Or
when
it means
other orgs wanna
nothing.
Come in. Yeah, because
It
another
means
orgs are
nothing.
coming in like, oh, is this the same team that just played last week under a different name?
Right.
Like they're not sure. The same with roster swaps. Like you got to be careful about swapping all the time because you want consistency. Because orgs do not want to sign someone, then have to like let them out of the contract, sign someone else onto a contract. They don't want any of that. They want consistency
Right.
always.
Yeah. So what I hope to see from the player base, like the professional player base, is like exactly what you're talking about. Like, find an org if that's the route you're going to go right now. Stick with it. Stick with the team, or stick with a group of like players. You don't have to be signed to a team or an org yet. Just put up good results, and the way that you do that is by playing together a lot and making sure that your chemistry and your teamwork is on point. Build up your reputation that way, like a consistent reputation. People will recognize you by, and wait for the good stuff to come because it's coming. It's going to happen.
For sure.
But you got to be patient. And you got to put in the time. You got to put in the work, right? You got to make those smart decisions.
That's
so
what a lot of players are not doing right now. I feel like a lot of them are not putting in the work, and at the same time, some of them can't because like they have to work a 40-hour job, stuff like that. Because like I think it was Subway was saying, well, I don't have time to stream like we were talking about last week about streaming because I work 40 hours, and like so I don't have time to like stream and practice. And I get that, like it's tough, but at the same time, it's like what comes first, like the chicken or the egg. Like if you stream a lot and get big streamer numbers, then you get the bigger orgs because that's what they want to see. So it's tough. Like you have to like sacrifice other things sometimes to get those chances, basically. James, any thoughts?
No, I think we've covered
James
it.
is done. He's like, I'm off the show. I'm never coming back.
Yeah, I'm replaced.
I'm out.
His future looks
My
really
contract
bleak
has
after
been
this
voided.
episode. Yeah.
Nobody liked my gravity joke. It's just
It was really.
It was 1 out of 10,
it
like
was
your emote.
cringy. It
I
was
know.
really cringy.
I know.
It wasn't
was
that bad. I actually thought it was pretty good.
Thanks, Gibbs.
Looks
All right,
like
I'm back. I'm happy.
that'll be the end of the show, guys. And Mason, like I want to thank you again for coming on. It's been a great show.
Yeah. Thank
And-
you guys for having me. It was a blast. I appreciate the opportunity. So,
Thanks. And we'll see you back next week because James, like, great last show by you, but you know, we had a good run. We'll see you. Maybe we'll put you on a special guest after like the RLCS LAN.
yeah.
All right, that's whatever you want, man. That's
All
cool.
right, sounds good. And on
We
that,
went out with-
guys,
went out with a bang, I guess.
kind of like
it was fine.
James, you did fine.
Thanks,
And
Gibbs.
That'll
Really
wrap up
appreciate it.
DFH Locker Room number 9. We'll see you guys next week for the number 10 episode, most likely with Team Z. Thanks again, Mason. And again, NZXT, go check them out. And thank you, James. See you guys next time.